For telling my parents to get lost after they left everything to my sister? My name is Harper. I am 32 years old and I work at a large pharmaceutical company in Chicago. I am not getting rich, but I do well enough, just to be clear. After taxes and everything, I have about $3,500 left per month. With that, I could afford the mortgage on my condo in Lincoln Park, save a little, and live peacefully without counting pennies. Or at least that was how it was before all this. First, I need to explain how my family is, because if you do not understand the dynamic, everything else seems crazy. My parents are Linda, 58, and Robert, 61. I have a younger sister, Chloe, 28. And I had an older brother, Marcus, who passed away 3 years ago in a car accident. Marcus left his wife Elena and their 2 children, Lily, who is 10 today, and Noah, who is 8. Elena has had a really hard time since Marcus left. She works part-time at a retail store, and with that she barely makes enough for the basics. It does not come close to what it costs to maintain a house with 2 kids in the suburbs. Since Marcus died, I have been helping her with what I can. Rent, groceries, school supplies, shoes, whatever they need. I do not do it to look good. I do it because it is the right thing, and because Marcus, if he were here, would not hesitate to do the same for me. Now for the complicated part. Chloe has always been the favorite, the baby of the house, the one everyone looks at first. Since we were little, it was the same thing over and over. She had the biggest bedroom. They bought her prettier clothes. If Chloe wanted dance classes, they made it happen somehow. If I asked for art classes, suddenly there was not enough money. At first I argued, I got angry, and it hurt. Over time I learned to swallow that. That was how my family worked. Chloe works at a marketing agency downtown. She makes decent money, but she constantly complains. She is still in a mediocre apartment with roommates and every so often asks my parents for help with a bill, to get out of a jam, or for an unexpected expense. And they always find a way. And here comes the part where everything goes wrong. In my family, there is a tradition. A dinner once a month at my parents' house out in the suburbs, near Naperville. Supposedly, it is to see us get along and be united. The month everything started was around March, more or less. I left early because from the city to Naperville, if you hit rush hour traffic on the interstate, you are stuck for a good while. Even so, I arrived like always around 6 in the afternoon, already tired. Elena was already there with the kids. Noah was running around the living room like a tornado, and Lily was sitting at the kitchen island doing homework quietly. Chloe had just arrived too. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Dad," I said when I entered. My dad did not even look up from his tablet. My mom barely nodded at me because she was fawning over Chloe, as if she had just returned from saving the world. "Oh, Chloe, you look so professional. You look like a real executive," my mom said, smoothing Chloe's hair with her hands. "Thanks, Mom. It cost me like $200, but it was worth it," Chloe answered happily, as if they had given her a prize. Meanwhile, Elena struggled so Noah would not knock over a vase, and Lily continued with her math. I went over to Lily. "How is it going?" "Let's see, show me," I told her and stayed with her a while to help. At 7 we sat down to eat. My mom made roast chicken with mashed potatoes and green beans. The kids chatted about school. Elena cut their food. Chloe told gossip from her office without taking her eyes off her smartphone. Then my dad cleared his throat, making that sound that warns you something serious is coming. "We have to talk about something important," he said. The table went silent, with the exception of Noah asking for more ketchup. It was as if nothing was happening. My mom looked nervous, playing with her napkin, folding it, unfolding it. "Your dad and I are going through a financial issue," she finally blurted out. My stomach sank. I knew it before they even said it. "They cut my hours at the medical practice," my mom continued. "She works as an administrative assistant in a doctor's office. They left me part-time and I am earning about half." My dad nodded and said, "My back is worse. The doctor told me I cannot be lifting things anymore. They moved me to lighter tasks at the warehouse and pay me less." My mom took a deep breath. "We are having trouble covering the house mortgage." My neck tensed up. Suddenly, all the air felt heavy. "This house will someday belong to you all," my dad said, as if that justified everything. "To Harper, to Chloe, and to the kids for Marcus. And there is also the vacation cabin in Lake Geneva." Elena looked down as if she wanted to make herself small. So we think it is fair that you help us maintain it, so it does not get lost. The silence was extremely heavy. Even Noah stopped asking for ketchup. Chloe was the first to speak. Oh, I would like to, but you know how I am. I barely have enough. Between rent and my student loans, there is no way. My parents looked at her with an understanding that made me angry. Of course, honey, we understand. We know you are tight too, my mom said. Then they turned toward Elena. Elena swallowed hard. I would help if I could, but with 2 kids and what I earn. Her voice broke. Harper already helps us get by. And then, as always, all eyes fell on me. My dad was direct. The monthly mortgage payment is $2,500. We need the money transferred by next week. In that moment, I felt trapped because it was true. I was the only one who could do it. My condo mortgage was around $1,800 a month. I already helped Elena with the basics, whatever came up that month, and even so, I had a cushion. It was not huge, but it existed. Okay, I said. And I hated myself for saying it. I will do it. The atmosphere changed in seconds. My mom smiled like she had not smiled all night. My dad relaxed. Oh, Harper, thank you. You are saving the house for us, my mom said. She used that voice they use when they want you to feel proud of carrying a burden that is not your responsibility. The rest of the dinner was almost pleasant. The kids told jokes. We talked about normal things, but inside I was already doing the math. Goodbye outings. Goodbye weekend trips. Goodbye little treats. Goodbye savings. Afterward, Elena pulled me into the kitchen while the kids played in the living room. Harper, I feel terrible. If you are paying your parents' mortgage now, maybe I should not ask you for help anymore, she told me. Do not worry, I answered her. I will manage. The important thing is the kids. Elena hugged me tight. You are the best. Marcus would be proud. That phrase held me up that night and broke me even more later. I arrived at my condo and opened my laptop. I sat down with a notebook and recalculated everything. My mortgage, my parents' mortgage, Elena, and the kids' expenses. When I finished, I had only a few $100s left a month for everything else. Groceries, gas, utilities, phone, insurance, zero savings, zero margin. But I repeated to myself, it is temporary, it is the right thing. I scheduled an automatic transfer to my mom's bank account for the 15th of every month. $2,500. Punctual. The first few months were a blow. Before, I used to go out to dinner 2 or 3 times a week in the city. Sometimes I would walk around Target just to look at things, to buy whatever nonsense I wanted. I booked a weekend in Michigan or Wisconsin without planning much. All that ended. I started cooking on Sundays. I made chicken with rice, soups, pasta, and stews that would last for days. At work, they asked me why I did not go out to eat with them anymore. I am eating healthier, I would say, and I swallowed the rest. The heaviest part was that, besides my parents' mortgage, I kept helping Elena. Lily was growing and needed new sneakers. Noah broke his backpack and we had to buy another. Elena's car needed a repair. They were not luxuries, they were basic necessities. And every time I transferred something extra for them, I had to decide what to cut from my life. I left my usual salon and looked for a cheaper chain place. I canceled the gym membership and started running in the park along the lake. I changed brands, bought generic, and took care of myself as if I were about to fall into a void. The transfer kept going out on the 15th like clockwork, $2,500 every month. I tried not to think about it until around the 4th month. At lunch hour in the office, I was looking at Instagram. I follow Chloe, although she almost always exasperates me. Just selfies, just complaints, just, oh, how hard everything is. That day I almost threw the phone. Chloe had uploaded about 15 photos at a luxury resort in Hawaii. Chloe in a bikini in front of an infinity pool with an ocean view. Chloe at a spa. Chloe with cocktails at a super expensive restaurant. Chloe showing off her peace of mind. I froze. That was not a cheap getaway. That was a fortune, easily more than $3,000, maybe much more. Chloe did not have a partner. She had been saying for months that she was alone. So where did that money come from? I spent the rest of the day with my blood boiling. There I was with my homemade food, counting expenses, buying things at a discount store while Chloe got massages in Hawaii. It did not add up. 3 weeks later was the next family dinner. I entered my parents' house and the first thing I saw was Chloe's purse. Red leather, a designer brand, one of those that does not go below $500. She was also wearing new jeans, a blouse that looked very expensive and impeccable heels. She was showing my mom some gold earrings and a matching necklace. I sat down and felt the heat rise to my face. Elena was there with the same sweater she had been wearing for years. Lily had on pants with a little hole in the knee that Elena had tried to mend, and Chloe looked like she had stepped out of a fashion magazine. My mom served meatloaf with rice and warm rolls. We all started eating and I could not take it anymore. "Chloe, I saw your photos from Hawaii," I said, trying to sound calm. "It looked incredible. How did it go?" Chloe lit up. "No, it was spectacular. The resort was beautiful, the food really good. I got a daily massage. Really, I needed to rest." "Sounds expensive," I blurted out casually. Her smile dropped a little. "Well, I saved." "You saved?" I repeated without hiding my disbelief. "Because the last time, you said you could barely handle your expenses." The table got tense. Elena kept cutting the food for Noah, but I knew she was listening. My dad focused on his plate as if we did not exist. Chloe looked at me with hard eyes. "Harper, I do not understand what it has to do with you." "Yes, it has to do with me," I said, no longer watching my tone. "Because I am paying my parents' mortgage alone, and you are traveling in a luxury hotel." Chloe turned red. "Are you going to tell me what I can spend my money on?" "I am not telling you what to do," I responded, gritting my teeth. "I am just pointing out that if you have money for trips and designer bags, you could help with the mortgage." Chloe threw her chair back. The noise sounded loud on the floor. "You are exaggerating. Always with the same thing. Always making everything about money." "Because it is unfair," I answered her. "I am cutting back my life to cover what was supposed to be everyone's responsibility." Chloe grabbed her very expensive purse. "That is it. I am not staying to listen to this." She turned toward my mom with a victim face. "Thanks for dinner, Mom. I will call you later." And she left, slamming the front door. I looked at my parents, waiting. I do not know, for something. Anything. My mom looked at me as if I had done something terrible. "Harper, that was uncalled for," she said quietly. "Uncalled for?" I let out with a lump in my throat. "I am paying your mortgage while she goes on a trip." My dad finally spoke without looking up much. "Your sister got a bonus. She can spend her money. A bonus for a trip, purse, jewelry. And me paying this," I said. "Do you really not see what is happening?" My mom sighed. "It is different with you. You make good money." In that moment, I felt like I was going crazy. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and left. The drive back to my condo was horrible. The traffic, the lights, my head repeating the conversation over and over, and every time I got angrier. I arrived, made myself a tea, and sat in my living room looking at my own space. No new decorations, no changes, nothing. Everything was the same for months, and I imagined Chloe uploading another photo with her new necklace. That day, I understood something that hurt more than the fatigue. To my family, I was the responsible one, the one who always steps up, the one who endures. And Chloe was the fun one, the one who deserves to live. And that was not fair. After that dinner, everything got weird. Chloe did not answer me. My mom looked at me with disappointment, and I, like a fool, kept paying the mortgage every month. The 15th became a reminder that I no longer had control. My savings were running out. I started living paycheck to paycheck. Me, who had always been organized, suddenly was watching that nothing extra slipped away, repeating to myself, "It is temporary, it is going to get better." Until December arrived. By then, I had been paying for almost 9 months. My mom called me. "Harper, can you come on Saturday to help me decorate? I am not up for going up and down the ladder anymore." "Yes, Mom. I will go on Saturday." Saturday dawned cold and gray. One of those Midwestern winter days that puts you in a bad mood for no reason. I arrived around 10 in the morning, and we started with the lights and the tree. After a while, my mom told me, "The boxes with the ornaments are in your dad's home office on the top shelf." My hand is hurting, and I do not want to struggle. My dad has always kept important papers in that office, on the same shelf where they throw seasonal things. That is why I was not surprised to see boxes mixed with folders, but I never imagined what I was going to find. I entered the office, climbed on a chair to reach the boxes, and grabbed the third one. It weighed more than I expected. It slipped a little and some papers fell to the floor. I bent down to pick them up, and there I saw it. A document with clear letters. Last will and testament dated 9 months ago. Right when I started paying the mortgage. The blood started to drain from my face. I felt my hands trembling while I read. The house I was paying for went completely to Chloe, and also the vacation cabin in Lake Geneva. Everything went to her. They left me practically nothing, and to Marcus's kids barely some personal keepsakes. I felt a blow in the chest as if they had pushed me. I left the office with the paper in my hand. My mom was arranging a garland when she saw me. "Mom," I said with a dry voice. "What is this?" I held up the document. My mom turned literally white. My dad entered from the kitchen and froze upon seeing the paper. That is a draft," my mom said quickly. "It is not definitive. It is dated 9 months ago," I answered without taking my eyes off her. "Just when you asked me to pay the mortgage." They started talking over each other. That Chloe needed security, that I already had my condo, that they could change it, that it was not a big deal. I did tell them at the time to sell or rent the Lake Geneva house to breathe, even for a while. My mom got offended and told me that should not be touched, that it was the only nice thing left of the family. And there I understood that it was not an emergency, it was a decision. But in that moment I was not listening to excuses anymore. In my head, only one idea existed: they had been using me. "That is it," I said. I folded the paper calmly, put it in my purse and took a deep breath. I am taking it, so I do not forget how my own parents respect me. I grabbed my coat and left while they kept trying to explain. That same night I arrived at my condo, and the first thing I did was cancel the automatic transfer at my bank. Then I made myself a tea, turned off my cell phone, and went to bed early. I needed to process that betrayal before facing what was coming. The next day I turned on the cell phone. 12 missed calls, 20-something messages, voicemails, more calls. My parents said I misinterpreted everything and that we should talk like adults. They also said, "Do not make a big deal out of this. Think about the kids, what will the family say?" But the worst messages were not from them, they were from Chloe. The first ones were of fake concern. "Harper, my mom told me you are upset about a paper. Can we talk?" And then the mask fell. "You are exaggerating. You already have a condo. I need a place to live someday." And the last one was the one that left me frozen. "You have always been obsessed with money. There are more important things." There the truth fell on me completely. Chloe knew from the beginning. That is why she did not help. That is why she could give herself a life of luxury while I cut back on everything, because she knew that house would someday be hers. I stared at the cell phone as if it were not real. I did not answer. I just sent a message to my parents that I was not going to come for Christmas. An hour later the phone rang. It was Elena. "Harper, what happened? Your mom called me crying. She says there is an emergency and that I should convince you to talk." I told her everything. The will, the date, the lies, Chloe's messages. My voice was trembling. "I feel really stupid, Elena. Really stupid." "Do not say that," she answered firmly. "You were being generous. They took advantage. This is not fixed with an, 'oh, sorry.'" She remained silent for a second. "Are you going with them for Christmas?" "Of course not." "Then neither are we," she said without hesitating. "The kids and I are not going to celebrate with people who did this to you." And then she added softer, "Do you want us to come to your place? Lily and Noah would be happy. They adore you." And so it was. Christmas morning, Elena arrived with the kids. They brought gifts, a tray of homemade cookies, and a smile that made me cry just seeing it. "Aunt Harper, are we going to spend Christmas here?" shouted Lily, hugging me. "How cool," said Noah. "Can we make pancakes?" We made a big breakfast. Pancakes with syrup and fruit, hot chocolate. The kids opened gifts under my tiny tree, and my apartment filled with noise, with laughter, with life, with that life I had missed without knowing it. We watched movies, played board games, and put together a puzzle. "It is the best Christmas," said Lily in the afternoon, her face concentrated on the puzzle. "Really? Even though there was not the big dinner at your grandparents'?" I asked her. Yes, she answered calmly. Here we are good. Elena looked at me from the other side of the living room and smiled as if saying, see? And she was right. That felt like family. Without tension, without guilt, without manipulation. That night, when the kids were curled up watching a movie, I understood something that gave me peace. I had not lost my family. I had found it. The next day, my parents started calling nonstop. I let everything go to voicemail. My cell phone lit up every 20 minutes. When Elena and the kids left in the afternoon, I sat down to listen to the voicemails. They were the same as always. You misunderstood. We can fix it. The family should be united. But nothing that sounded like a real apology, nothing that said, we failed you. Then I read a super long message from Chloe. It said I was dramatic, selfish, and that I always believed I was better for earning more. She finished by saying that I should be happy to help and that I was behaving like a brat. That gave me a cold anger. The kind that does not scream anymore, it just decides. There I made the decision. I blocked them. My mom, my dad, Chloe blocked on the cell phone, on text, on social media, on everything. It is over. But they did not give up. A week after New Year's, they knocked on my door around 8 at night. I looked through the peephole and there were the three of them. My mom, my dad, and Chloe. Harper, we know you are there, my dad said loudly. Please open. My mom sounded heartbroken. Chloe was already upset. You cannot cut off your family like this. This is ridiculous, she shouted. I did not open. I stayed silent listening to them. We have to talk like adults, insisted my dad. Chloe laughed with contempt. You are acting like a child. That actually made me laugh, but out of pure anger. I got close to the door so they would hear me. Of course there is nothing to talk about, I said loudly. You lied to me for months. You took money from me while planning to leave everything to Chloe. And you, I spoke directly to my sister, even though she was behind the door. You knew. We can change the will, my dad blurted out desperately. I do not want you to change it, I answered him. I want you to leave me alone. I am not going to give you $1 more. And I do not want to see you. You cannot abandon us, shouted Chloe as if I were the bad one. Yes, I can, I responded. They kept knocking, insisting, raising their voices. For at least 20 minutes. My neighbors surely were listening to everything. Finally, they left. The next day, my mom looked for Elena. Elena called me. Your mom called me so I would convince you to help them again. And what did you tell her? I told her that what she did is unforgivable, answered Elena without hesitation. And that if they look for you or look for me to pressure you again, I am going to get legal advice, and I am going to ask that they stop harassing us. That is it. A week later, my mom called me from another number, surely someone else's phone. I answered because I did not recognize it. I heard her crying. Harper, please, we cannot pay. We are going to lose the house. I was calm, strangely calm. You already decided to leave everything to Chloe, I told her. Then let Chloe see how she handles it. It is just that she does not have that kind of money, responded my mom as if that would evoke sympathy. Then she should not have spent so much on trips and things while I covered this. She did not know about the will, tried my mom. I clenched my jaw. Mom, I have her messages. She did know. She told me I already had a condo and that she needed a place to live. Do not lie to me. She stayed silent and then blurted out desperately, What are we supposed to do? I do not know, I responded. And it is not my job to solve it. I hung up and blocked that number. Elena also kept telling me over time what happened with them. They could not sustain the mortgage. To try to cover debts, they had to put the vacation cabin in Lake Geneva up for sale. But not even with that was it enough to pay off everything they owed. Chloe moved back in with my parents to help with expenses. She got a second job on weekends waiting tables at a restaurant. Goodbye designer bags, goodbye luxury trips. My mom went back to working full-time even if her hands hurt. My dad started physical therapy to try to endure more and look for something better paid. And even so, according to Elena, Chloe was still furious. She told everyone that I was selfish, that I was punishing the family just because they did not give me what I wanted. Once, in one of our weekly calls, Elena told me, Can you believe Chloe is going around saying you are jealous of her? I stayed silent a second and then let out a laugh without enthusiasm. Jealous. I repeated. I was paying for her future. There are people who do not understand, said Elena. They are never going to understand. It is just that she was always the favorite, I responded. And she does not know what it feels like to be taken as an ATM. Elena sighed. For what it is worth, Harper. You did the right thing. 6 months have passed since I found that will. I have not spoken to my parents or Chloe a single time. And no, I do not miss them. I do not miss the drama. I do not miss the guilt. I do not miss that sensation that it was never enough, that they always compared me to my perfect sister. My life is better. It took me time to get back up, but I started saving again. I started breathing again. Now I can invite Elena and the kids to a nice dinner once in a while without feeling guilty. I was able to buy new furniture for my living room, and next month I am going to go for a few days to Charleston, my first real vacation in more than a year. Sometimes I wonder if my parents regret it, if it weighs on them, if they realize they lost a daughter who, honestly, yes, would have helped them without hesitation if they had just told me the truth. But then I remember the date of the will. I remember my mom's white face when she saw it in my hands. I remember Chloe's messages calling me obsessed with money while she lived the high life. And that passes because I know I made the right decision. I found out through acquaintances that they are still struggling financially. The mortgage is current, but barely. They had to cut many things. Chloe continues with 2 jobs and living with my parents, who are now also more tired and more tense. Meanwhile, I am fine. Elena and the kids come every weekend. My condo no longer feels like an empty place where I only sleep. It feels like home. A home where people are grateful, where there is laughter, where no one uses you. I learned something that hurts but saves you. Family is not just blood. Family is respect, honesty, and taking care of each other for real. And sometimes those who share your last name are the first to treat you as if you were a resource, not a person. I do not regret walking away. I regret having taken so long to see what was happening, but I am grateful to have woken up in time before giving them more years of my life, being their ATM while they plan to leave everything to their favorite daughter. Yeah. Comment. I think many of us grow up believing that family loyalty means saying yes to everything, even when it hurts. But real love is never about being someone else's resource. It is about mutual respect and honesty. Setting a boundary does not make you selfish. It means you are finally taking care of your well-being. You deserve to be surrounded by people who value your presence more than your paycheck, or what you can do for them. Sometimes the truest family we find isn't the one we are born into, but the people who show up for us with open hearts. Walking away from toxic situations is incredibly difficult, but the peace you gain on the other side is worth every struggle. Don't be afraid to protect your peace and invest your energy where it is genuinely appreciated. Your kindness is a beautiful gift, so make sure you share it with those who truly cherish it. I hope you remember today that you are enough just as you are, and you never have to buy your way into anyone's heart. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.